All right. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Today is Tuesday. We are on the road to WWE's Crown Jewel that is going to be coming up this Saturday from Perth, Australia. This is the first Crown Jewel show that they have ran outside of Saudi Arabia. I'm not quite sure why they chose to still have the show in Saudi Arabia and then, basically just move the Crown Jewel show to Australia and in the same, keeping the name, keeping the fake titles when doing champion versus champion, when they're just basically doing SmackDown versus Raw to find, who the greatest champion is or what show is better than the other show. It's kind of like when they used to do um, like the Survivor Series when it would be, Raw versus SmackDown, or they would do, they had another bragging rights. Remember bragging rights back in the day where they used to have like the SmackDown versus Raw Survivor Series style match at the end. I think they only did it for 2 years. And the winner of the tag match, which was the main event, would win a trophy that they would pretty much show for one night on the first Raw or SmackDown. And it always seems like since, SmackDown is kind of chasing Monday Night Raw all the time, no matter what they try to do with the roster. It seems like always in the SmackDown versus Raw, they're always giving SmackDowns the win, trying to make it seem like it is a bigger show than it honestly really, is. But I don't know. When I look like LA Knight, not one of my favorite guys in WWE. When he was on SmackDown, I kind of thought that he was just kind of like a knockoff of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And since he's came to Monday Night Raw, I've had ups and downs with him as a character, but I seem like I honestly care about him a whole lot more. But Damian Priest, since moving over to SmackDown, I thought he was going to go over there, and I was wrong in the past when John Morrison, when he did the same thing during one of the WWE drafts. I thought that he was going to be such a big fish in a small pond that he was going to blow it up, and he was going to be a bigger, better champion than we'd ever seen before. And Damian Priest, although I think he had a little bit of time when he was injured, the guy's done like nothing since they made these moves. And some people said they were trades. Some people said that they were just free agent signings and people just, just kind of got to move around where they wanted to go to. But I mean, LA Knight seems like he's on Raw each and every week and he's in some sort of a match where he gets to go out there and he basically is, saying like, hey, he deserves to be a champion. He wants a World Heavyweight Champion shot. I know that when he beat Seth Rollins on Saturday night's main event, it was kind of a fluke, but it is what it is. But I'm doing this live stream. I'll tell you the truth. Like, I understand WWE has its ups and it has its downs. And when WWE is hitting 100, people love to talk about it. And right now, I feel like WWE is kind of in a little bit of a lull. I think this style of pay-per-view where they kind of do matches that aren't championship matches, they're just bragging rights or, finding out. It's a lot of exhibition matches. I've been using that match a lot, especially because of the John.Cena versus AJ Styles storyline for this match. Is they just wanted to have a match, so they're going to have a match. We know both of these guys are near the end of the line. John Cena, we have an expiration date. December 15th, I think that's it, Saturday night's main event. He's going to wrestle, and we are never going to see him wrestle again. We will see him show up on Raw 2000. We'll see him show up on SmackDown's 26th anniversary, but we're not going to see him wrestle in a match, honestly, more than likely. And knowing John Cena the way that I think I know him, I don't think John Cena is going to take the cash and wrestle. at WrestleMania 42 when it comes to Saudi Arabia, where they say a lot of people are going to be coming back. The more I think about it, the more I think The Rock will probably take the money. I don't think Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ric Flair, The Undertaker, I don't think we're going to see any of those guys. That's just the way that I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be hyped up that it's going to be the biggest and best WrestleMania of all time. And when it comes down to it, it's going to depend on how good the WrestleMania is. If they book it strong and they book it like it's going to be the best WrestleMania of all time, it's going to be a damn good WrestleMania. If they go out there, it's going to be looked at over time of like a WrestleMania 26, maybe a WrestleMania 27. I love both of those WrestleManias. I think because I have memories of going to the event and hanging out with my friends, and one being my first WrestleMania, that I can make excuses why the matches are good and why they need to be elevated and why I think it's such a great WrestleMania. But I think to most people, especially WrestleMania 27, it was just a pay-per-view that happened to be held in March or April, and they called it WrestleMania. It didn't like do monster numbers. So we'll see what they do. Money talks. They already paid a lot of money. I don't see them wanting to throw down a ton of money more to try and pay WWE salary to make this special moment. We saw what happened with the world's greatest Royal Rumble. They went out there and tried to give Saudi Arabia the world's greatest Royal Rumble. We got some Japanese guy coming out there acting like he's Yokozuna. We had the return of the great Khali. It was just one thing after another of stuff that maybe was memorable for 5 minutes, but in the long run, it just really wasn't, the biggest and baddest thing of all time. But I can honestly tell you, I am excited for this show. I think the one negative for me is its time period. The show going live at 4 a.m. Pacific time kind of honestly sucks. I don't think I would have set an alarm to get up to watch this show early if I would have had a normal Saturday off. I am going into work because I have been working Saturdays the last 2 months because my friend who works for me, she's been taking an extra day off as like her PTO time. And I just feel like as the manager, the place shouldn't be left alone on Saturdays. It wouldn't be alone, but it would just be like we would get somebody to work there who doesn't work there. And I just feel like I guess I have enough pride that we should, do it and do it right. And I just been taking opposite days off of whenever I need to do it. But I'm going to go to work at 5. I don't think I'm gonna put it on in the car because I don't think that like even at the beginning of the show, like the car ride in's only like 10 to 15 minutes. So it's not like I'm saving any time. But 5 a.m. I'll clock in, I'll turn the show on, and I'll enjoy it the best I can. I'm mostly gonna be listening to the show. I'm sure Michael Cole, maybe Wade Barrett, who's on the call. I think that they'll do a good enough job that I can listen to it and know what is going on. If something big, huge happens, I can hit the rewind on there or something like that. But I don't know. AEW, they had a good all in, they had a good all out. I heard a lot of people buzzing about the company when those shows were going down, saying that they really delivered really good pay-per-views. But I really haven't heard them follow up on dynamites, collisions. And so I don't really know if people are, getting stale on WWE and they're just, getting and changing the channel to watch the other company, or if they're just, getting out on wrestling as a whole. I watched one guy. I don't know his name. I watch his videos mostly because they're video game based, but he does, have a few wrestling videos that he kind of tosses in there. And he made a video saying that he was like kind of done with WWE. And he's younger than me, but I definitely think we're in like close to the same age bracket. And I know I've had my time periods when I wasn't watching as much WWE when they were hyping up, the Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins Hell in the Cell match, talking about, when Cody wrestled with the torn pec. I know that I was close to getting back in on wrestling. I definitely was following the news on Twitter. I was listening to videos from Dave Meltzer that would get posted onto YouTube and things like that, or some clips. Um, I wasn't watching, Monday Night Raw each and every week, but I would watch sporadic pay-per-views. I really don't know what my reasoning was for not watching that show. But I mean, I watched the highlights and I really feel like I blew it because I mean, I had Peacock. I knew it was going down. I knew the storyline. I knew what was going on behind the scenes was one hell of a story. With Cody going out there to wrestle a match, knowing it was going to be his last for a good damn time. And I just wasn't into it. But by the time he made his return is when he won the Royal Rumble. And that must have been what set up WrestleMania 39. So I just wasn't in because WrestleMania 39 to this day I still haven't seen. I think it was the push to 40 going to 41 is when I finally like put my foot in and I was like, if we're gonna go to WrestleMania in Las Vegas and I'm gonna spend this much money, I'm gonna have to do it. And I've also honestly thought it was awesome. But I think it's good. I think this show honestly is gonna be really cool. I think that it's going to be there. ESPN app. I think most people have bellied up to the bar. I think that the complaining that you heard leading to WrestlePalooza, the people just thought about it, and it was, am I going to watch this show or not? And the people who had to pay for it paid for it, and the people who found a way to watch it for free watched it for free. I made the jump to Hulu Live TV. I will tell you the truth. On my phone, I hate Hulu Live TV. I find that when I'm watching, football games, I find myself like falling behind live. I don't know if it's because of the Hulu ads that they put on to cover up the regular commercials or make the commercial breaks longer. And then they just kind of like jump back into the show like they're not behind. But I find myself constantly having to press the like go to live and find that I'm like a good time behind. Or if I'm watching, the reactions on Twitter, finding out the touchdowns happen on Twitter before I actually see them happen in video and hear them in audio. So that I don't really like, but I'm just trying to buy some time. I really think that come, Christmas time, YouTube and ESPN will come to a deal and I'll be able to switch back and pay the same amount of money to have YouTube TV. The only thing that will suck is that when I sign up for YouTube TV, all of my settings will have been erased because they said they only save them, I think, for 2 months. And then I'll have to go back and reset all my shows to record. But that only took like 10 minutes. It is what it is. But I don't know. I was looking up tonight. I'm going to be going to the movies. I'm going to be seeing the Smashing Machine. I know I'm going to the movies on a Tuesday. God honest truth. I'm buying the tickets because they're on a discount. I didn't even really know what the movie was about when it came out. I remember that like the commercial would come on TV and I would see Dwayne The Rock Johnson and he would be, fighting in the ring. And then you would see his girlfriend hanging on him, saying stuff to him like, why you got to fight? And I kept on like, I would ask her almost like complaining at the TV, like, what is this movie about? I didn't know the story of Mark Kerr. And I was just like, is this guy gonna die? Like, is he gonna get beat in the ring and he's just gonna like collapse and die? Is that what the story is about? But this weekend, post wrestling, Wei Ting and John Pollock, they put up a older podcast. It was a review they did of the documentary that The Rock saw, and $7 Productions bought the rights to the documentary, and they made the movie. Just like how they did it with the Page movie, The Fighting with My Family. You remember that one? That one was a documentary that they basically just turned into a movie. So I don't know if that's what Seven Bucks Productions is doing now, just watching documentaries and just saying like, "Hey, we want to turn this into a movie." And it's all written for you basically because everything I've heard is it's almost like word for word, scene for scene, just done. But we're gonna go see that tonight. After hearing the review, I learned that it was a lot about substance abuse. It was about like painkillers and like him getting his life back on track, getting clean, and it's almost a lot of like personal him and his girlfriend relationship style stuff. And it's not like her trying to get him to quit fighting. I think it's more of like just his struggle to try and stay clean. And it was a good review of a documentary. I know where I can find the documentary. I haven't had a chance to actually watch it yet, but I wanted to go support The Rock. I know that like early on when The Rock was making movies, I made a joke with myself that like I was like, I don't ever want to go see The Rock in a movie, especially in the movies, because I don't want The Rock to do big numbers because of the fact that I want him to go back to wrestling. And I realize now how stupid that really is. The more and more wrestlers get into making movies and, try and do something like that. But tonight, 7 o'clock, we're going to the movies to see The Smashing Machine. When I was buying the tickets, it was the first time I saw an ad to go to the movies to see WWE. Crown Jewel is going to be shown in a theater. This theater is in Lodi, which I think is honestly, if Stockton is an hour from here, Lodi is probably an hour and a half. I can't remember the last time I've actually went to Lodi or been to Lodi, so it's not like it's down the street or anything like that. But I was always jealous of my friend Ravi that he would have, wrestling in the movies back in the day, and he would go, and it would be one hell of an atmosphere because it's not like when you go to the movies and everybody's quiet. People cheer, and you get that kind of like almost like you're there live kind of feeling. But the only problem is that the show starts at 2 o'clock. And I think that anybody who is a big enough fan of wrestling to want to go to the movies to see wrestling, no one casually is walking in like saying like, "Hey, I need a ticket to Crown Jewel. I want to see what's going on with John.Cena and AJ Styles." Who is, basically staying off of social media, going in spoiler free to a show that was on at 4 a.m. to a show that starts at 2 and see that. So I wouldn't be surprised if no one is in that theater, God's honest truth. So, but it's still pretty damn cool that the Crown Jewels can be shown in the movies. I'm really looking forward to this pay-per-view. I really don't know about you. The way I look at it, I think it's a lot of exhibition matches, but it's going to be a lot of fun wrestling. Is the best way that I see that I can do it. The storylines that they're throwing at us right now, I think a lot of it is setting up what's going to happen next month, after Thanksgiving at WWE's Survivor Series. The Roman Reigns of it all, what's going on with Roman, what's going on with Jey Uso, that story, I don't even want to guess really what the stipulation is. We already knew that Jey Uso was kind of driving himself crazy in his pursuit of going out and winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Yet once again, he doesn't want to. If you remember the storyline leading up to the WrestleMania match, people were saying that he was a fluke. People saying that he was a meme. That this wasn't going to happen. They were, talking about the fact he gets blown up in his matches. He messes up his promos. He does, spots in his matches that don't really go off well. You remember him diving over the top ropes, not working out a couple times. And I think that they were working that to build into the storyline. I don't think they built the storyline, honestly, around that. But is Roman going heel? I mean, when I saw the promo that he did walking to the back after his return on Raw the week before, I definitely thought that we were going back 2 years and Roman was gonna be restarting the bloodline. The first thing he was doing was getting his, his vice president. He was getting Jey Uso under arms because he's a former world heavyweight champion. He definitely, he was a weapon then, but he's more of a weapon now. I'm not really sure what's going on SmackDown with the whole Solo Sikoa group. At one point, I thought that Solo was releasing all of his soldiers. And then at one time, I thought, well, he's going to become like a manager and he's going to try and manage these guys to become champions. And that's why he's hyping them up so much on the way that, like, it looks like he's kind of letting them go. And now, like, everybody's back and he's saying he needs one more piece. Some people say it's Tama Tonga's going to be returning to the group. When somebody's injured and they're gone, I don't think you hype them up with the promo basically saying that you need one more piece of the puzzle. I don't know how many brothers, sisters, aunts and uncles and cousins there are to the MFTs, but I think he's kind of keeping everything under wraps, and I think that as of right now, Roman is pretty much a Monday Night Raw guy. So I don't think that Solo is going to be jumping over to really join this clique. But when it comes down to it, I think that Roman is kind of like hyping up Jey Uso because he believes in him and he wants to be a champion. I don't think he's trying to turn him against Jimmy, but although he doesn't like Jimmy talking crap, on camera about him. So if he takes a shot, he's going to take a shot back. But I think when it really comes down to it is like we might be going back to 2020, but Jey Uso is going to have more respect on his name when we do Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I think that's basically what we're building up to. You loved the feud when Jey Uso was looked at as like he was a big underdog, that, this tag team guy was fighting for respect, and he was going out there and he was fighting a guy that had been a former champion like Roman Reigns. And, what's it going to be like when, Jey Uso is now a former world heavyweight champion? He's going up against Roman. So I think that's kind of where we're going. Whether if that means these guys are on the War Games team WWE team together, whether if that means maybe, Roman is a captain and he leaves Jay off of the list because he kind of feels that his head's kind of messed up right now and they need to beat the Vision. They don't need somebody working against the group inside of the match, and he just picks LA Knight and John.Cena, Cody Rhodes to be in there with him instead of going with family. And then basically these promos of what he should be doing and thinking of family and building moments, and getting yourself out there can be used against Roman at that time, basically. I think so. It goes a little bit against what Roman Reigns has always stood for, but I think in the long run, it would be a pretty damn good storyline. You look at what I think is the World Heavyweight Championship match. What the fuck am I saying? You look at what I think is the main event. Your World Heavyweight Champion going up against your WWE Champion. The whole, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins match. That storyline right there. I think they're especially after Monday, they're telling us like, hey, just so you know, oh, now I know why I messed up. If you go on Wikipedia right now, somebody has changed it. I couldn't figure out why I screwed up that line so bad. But the main event of Crown Jewel on Wikipedia at this moment is Dusty Rhodes against Jon Moxley for the singles WWE Crown Jewel Championship. So that's why I screwed up so bad, because I was like, I'm reading it right off the screen. How am I saying it wrong? But my mind knew that what I was saying was wrong. But the whole fun part of this whole thing with Seth Rollins, never beating Cody Rhodes, and Cody letting him know, and then we have to sit through these videos of what happened the first match, the return from AEW, what happened the second match, what happened at freaking the Hell in the Cell match, then what happened at WrestleMania 40. Does Cody owe Seth Rollins everything for the run that he's been on the last 2 years? um for being his personal shield and making sure that Roman didn't get the win at 2 WrestleManias in a row against him. I think they're kind of like showing us, like, hey, just so you know, Seth is going to win this match. Don't be upset. Don't be sad. I think this whole pay-per-view is going to be very heel heavy, especially the Vision, because of the fact that War Games is coming up, and even though we already know the pay-per-view is called Survivor Series War Games San Diego, we need to have a reason to have War Games other than it is November and it is Survivor Series. We need, when somebody declares that we're going to have War Games, that it is like a pop and it is like, yes. WWE in San Diego, I can honestly say that I would have gone no matter what, because of the fact that I got a personal text from my buddy Miguel, and he just asked if we wanted to go. Pretty much Mike, Ravi, Miguel, they asked me to go anywhere. I'm going to be there. That's the kind of friend I am, that I want to have that time. I want to make that memory, and I think I'm at that point in my life where I can do things like that, and not have to worry about the bill that is going to be coming. Plane tickets paid for, tickets are paid for. I think I have to pay Miguel for the part of the hotel that we're going to be staying in for the night, but other than that, we're set. I mean, what else is there to do? We got to buy some hot dogs, maybe a hamburger, get some wings at Hooters. I think there was a Hooters. No, the Hooters was in Phoenix that we went to for the Royal Rumble that year. Wherever we're going, we're going to have one hell of a time. Me and Miguel, it has been far too long since we have had a time like that. We went to Summer Slams, Royal Rumbles, WrestleManias, Summer Slams. We almost went to the Chamber in Oakland. I ended up going with just me and Luke, but that was one hell of a time. So it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to next month, but you don't need me to sell this thing for you guys. This is going to be a damn good show. I think that if you wanted my picks right out of the gate, I'm picking Seth Rollins to beat Cody Rhodes in the championship match. I think that Stephanie Vakir will beat Tiffany Stratton for the women's match. John Cena versus AJ Styles. I understand having a good match. You're sitting there, you're watching it. I just don't want this to turn into what a John Cena television match would be if we were watching Monday Night Raw. There's no storyline other than AJ every time he's talking on a microphone, acting like he's not supposed to be talking about this match. They're sort of treating this match like this is the match that they didn't want to happen, but the fans asked for, so they had to give it to them. John Cena, I don't know what he's doing. If he's doing publicity for the Peacemaker, is it Peacemaker or Peacekeeper? Whatever that show is on HBO, whether he's filming a movie, if he's filming a TV show, whatever, John Cena is doing, he's not able to show up to Raw. I'm just glad that we're getting this match. But I'll tell you the truth, like, after getting beat by Brock at WrestlePalooza, I almost feel like they should have had the storyline like, when you lose, your career is over. I understand, like, if you think about a basketball team, a football team, a baseball team, they're not going to go 17-0. They're not going to win 162 games. They're not going to win 82 games, no matter what sport you're looking at. So John Cena is not going to win every match he's in. But the whole setup for the Brock versus John Cena match was that Brock kept saying, I'm going to retire John Cena. John Cena doesn't get to come out and say that he's on his retirement tour. I'm going to come in and I'm going to end it. So when we see Cena in Perth against AJ, is that Cena actually winning because Brock didn't beat him up bad enough? And every sort of like conspiracy theory that I've come up with that Brock Lesnar is only wrestling one match for the company, it's out the window. I mean, the guy's going to be in the video games. Tops already came out with a Brock Lesnar card. The dude's back. There ain't no other way to put it. It's not just, Triple H said, like, hey, we're going to bring Brock back because John asked for it. Brock Lesnar is a permanent place of the roster. I don't know what that means. I mean, is Brock going to be able to have that on his resume that he beat John Cena, setting him up for a Royal Rumble, and then go to WrestleMania and be in a championship match? I'm not 100% sure. I'm really hoping that both of these guys either wrestle at War Games or are in War Games as a part of the team. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure. People are on, Twitter and saying that Gunther has been announced that he's going to be the Cena retirement match at Saturday night's main event. Now, that match doesn't make a ton of sense to me, especially if Cena goes out losing. I think after the Kurt Angle WrestleMania 35 against Baron Corbin fiasco, I don't think there's any way in the world that Cena is going to lose that match. He's going to beat anybody. I don't care if it's two Gunthers inside of the ring. I don't care if that's the first time that we've seen Gunther, and Gunther's never lost back-to-back matches. Gunther's gonna lose this match. I promise you. But we'll have to see. But I'll tell you the truth. I'm not as down on the John Cena storyline of his final year in WWE. I mean, if you remember back in January, this guy showed up on Monday Night Raw, telling us like, hey, I haven't won a match in 3 years. This guy was kind of down on himself, saying that he was over the hill. He didn't know if he could do this anymore. And then the guy came out. He had one hell of a showing in the Rumble. He wins the Chamber. He wins, the title at WrestleMania 41. He has a few, matches. Randy Orton, R-Truth. Who else was in there? I know he had the tag match at Money in the Bank. And then he goes and he loses the championship and he loses his heel persona at SummerSlam. But I mean, like, the dude's back. I just don't understand why he lost that one. When you look at your women's match, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky should beat the Kabuki Warriors. That's just an easy one to get there. And then in the Australian street fight, I think it's going to be a matter of numbers. And you got to think if Bronson Reed is somewhere, Baron Corbin, I don't know why I thought that because there. Bronson Reed, if Bronson Reed is anywhere, you're going to have Braun Breaker be there, and that's going to lead to being like a 2-on-1. I don't want to say that WWE is too cheap to fly, the Usos out there, but do the Usos then get involved? And this becomes a whole thing of like, we're starting War Games in this Australian street fight. I'm not sure, but I'm picking Bronson Reed to get the win here. I know it's hard to, pick against Roman Reigns, but we'll see what's going on there. It's going to be fun. I didn't go match by match in depth. We did that a few weeks ago. These are all just kind of exhibition matches, so there's nothing really to put into it. But this is me telling you that I think that this pay-per-view is going to be awesome. I think treat it like it's just an extra TV show, an extra episode of Raw, extra episode of SmackDown, and you'll be all right. But our worlds are going to be turned upside down because of the fact that like Raw and SmackDown are going to be on so early. I don't know how to use the VPN. So SmackDown, I think, is just going to be on at 8 o'clock for us here, which means that like on Twitter, you can kind of watch it at 5 o'clock. I wish that SmackDown was live for us here in California. I think I would watch more of them. But man, beggars can't be choosers. Monday Night Raw on Monday is going to be 5 a.m. The show is going to start. I'll be definitely listening to that. Thanks to Netflix. Tip a beer for the working man. But that's about it, man. Hope everybody had fun. We got a lot of comments here from Not JPEG. I'll fly through these really fast. I'm honestly doing good. Like I said, I'm going to see the Smashing Machine tonight. We're rolling into Crown Jewel this weekend. It's going to be a good time. Possibility of Dave Bautista and the model Rick Martel getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame someday. Dave Bautista was part of that class that was supposed to be WrestleMania 36. Then was even advertised that they were going to do it WrestleMania 37. I don't know why he pulled out. I haven't really seen him do anything for the company. I would say I don't think that he's under contract, and maybe that's what he wants. I don't know if he has a Legends deal. I can't think of the last Batista action figure that got made. I can't think of the last. The video games are just too hard. I don't know if Batista is in the video game. I can't think of a Batista wrestling card that's came out by Topps and Panini. So maybe that's one reason Batista's not wanting to do it, is maybe he doesn't have a Legends deal and maybe he thinks that he should. And I don't know if Triple H is in charge of that. I don't know who's in charge of the Legends deal. But I think there's some reason why Batista hasn't been put in there, and I'm wondering if that really is the reason. Rick the Model Martel. This year, Major Bendy's put out I guess it was a big rubber guy. He actually was not a Major Bendy. He got a big rubber guy, his first action figure that he's had in quite a long time. So he's not, under contract with a Legends deal. It's not a guarantee that somebody has to have that once they get there. I think a lot of times once they have the plan for you to go in the Hall of Fame, that's when you get your Legends deal. But the talk about Rick Martel for a long time is that he didn't want to be in the business anymore. He had made a lot of money with real estate, and he was good. He was fine. He didn't want to do the circuit, doing pictures and autographs and this, that, and the other. But I think there comes a time in your life when you want that, you need that. But when I look at WrestleMania 42, and if they just like start that as their printing plate of this is what a Hall of Fame class is going to look like. We already know that Stephanie McMahon is going to be the headliner. More than likely, you will get two cornerstones that are almost main event guys. And then if you look at the natural disasters, I don't want to say that it's like a wrestle crap kind of person, but you have like that one lonely spot where they're not quite main eventers, but they were in wrestling at a good time. I apologize, but I think that's where Rick Martel could fall and be in there. But I don't know. I don't think he's big enough to be one of those cornerstones at the top of a Hall of Fame class. So we'll have to see. And then we'll have to see, are they doing a match each and every year? Are they going to do a moment? What is going to be the guidelines for them being Hall of Famers? Anyone checking out the NXT versus TNA showdown? I honestly think that's going to be starting very soon. And I can honestly say that it's not a takeover. I watch the takeovers more than I watch anything else. But right now, NXT has gotten me closer than I have been in a long time. And I'm talking about since like 2015, 2016, the golden era of the gold NXT logo when you had like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn still in NXT. This is as close as they've ever been to being like, this is freaking cool. I loved the invasion storyline. I'm not really quite sure why they changed the name to I don't remember what they changed the name of the show to. I don't know if they found out they don't have the trademark for Invasion anymore, if they can't use that big V. But I was a huge mark for that, and I think they set everything up right. And definitely with the special guest referees, Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry, something's going to come out of that. And at least one of those matches, somebody is going to turn to the other side. And I definitely think there's going to be people inside the match who wrestle for NXT that are going to become TNA people. And I think that there's going to be TNA people that, take the money and all of a sudden now they are NXT people. How they'll work that out with contracts and such and storyline, I'm not 100% sure how somebody could switch and then, be back working for the other company down the road. But I'm sure they'll figure that all out. They're pretty damn good at it. But I think they're honestly doing a really good job. 2025 match of the year contenders. I don't think I'm that good at this. Honestly, I nothing I can think. There's been a lot of good matches on a lot of the shows that I've seen. Which company might Santos Escobar be joining next? I'll tell you the truth. When I saw that he was leaving WWE, my immediate thought was like, where is this guy going? I don't want to say it's impossible, but like, can a WWE guy get released from WWE and then could he join AAA? Or is he forced to join CMLL? I really don't know how many more people, AEW can sign. Braun Strowman as the next Friday the 13th, Jason Varghese. Yeah, I honestly think this could happen. I mean, like, he wants to get his name out there. He's not full-time wrestling. He's got the size to be a scary fool. He definitely can get into acting if he wanted to get into acting. And peace out. That's going to be it for the WWE Crown Jewel 2025 stream. Like I said, I'm really excited for this show. I think it's going to be really, really good. I'm not sure what the numbers are going to be. I'm kind of expecting ESPN to be looking at this PLE and kind of like wondering, I wonder if they knew going in that this show was going to be an AM wrestling show in America. I'm wondering if they possibly even asked WWE, are you sure you don't want to do this at your normal 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. start? And then not realize that the show is actually in Perth. I mean, you got to remember this ESPN deal just started last month. But I think they probably knew that this was like a worldwide company and it'd be going down. So looking forward to this, big time. It's going to be weird because of the fact that it's such a weird time. But peace out, everybody. And I will see you guys down the road.